Sup guys, it's Randomize. Um, Here today we're going to be playing a Super Metroid map randomizer. Um, so first you want to hit the generate game here, and you have lots of options to pick from. I'm going to put a link in the description as to what this is. There's a large community based around this. You can see many options here. Skill assumptions, which is how good essentially you have to be at the game and how many uh, things you'd have to be able to do, like tricks and stuff like that. Item progression, quality of life, objectives, map layout, doors. You can actually open them not only with ammo but with certain beams as well. But we're going to go ahead and generate the game. There's many more options, and you'll have your seed info and everything. You can actually change your character as well. I'm using the Dark Samus sprite, but we can go ahead and look at some of the options here. I recommend if you do play this for the first time, I wouldn't use any of the weird ones. They probably will confuse you. But yeah, there's a lot of options here. We're just kind of looking through here. Anyways, yeah, if you want to give this a shot, you can really just look up map rando Super Metroid, and it usually just kind of shows up. And as I said, there is a big community around this. There's lots of options that you can change here. It gives you some tips that are important, some special inputs that are a part of this randomizer info. Just kind of looking through here just to kind of show you what it looks like. And then, of course, you're going to download the ROM when you are ready. Now, you do have to have a copy of Super Metroid to be able to play this, of course. Now, here is some of the tech that you can see here, based on what the difficulty is. We're doing basic today because I am not that good. I have done a medium before, so I have played this before, but we're just going to do basic. Which means you don't really have to know too many skills to get through the game. But there's a lot of hard tech. Now, here's just some of the basic tech here. You have to be able to do the basic heat run. So you have to be able to run through the heated areas, at least for a short time. I like how it shows you like a little picture and like a little video next to it. You have to be able to do a mid-air morph. So you have to be able to jump and hit down twice at the right time. You have to be able to do a basic wall jump. You have to be able to use frozen enemies to get to higher places. And you have to be able to do a shine spark. And a lot of these skills you learn throughout basic Super Metroid as you're playing it. This is why these are just basic skills. So you have to know how to play the game to begin with to be able to probably play this anyway. But if you're already here, you already know how to play Super Metroid. If you're going to be doing a randomizer to begin with. But as you can see, the skills definitely get harder. Hard tech is what most in the community use when they're doing their races. And some of that tech gets really crazy. It tells you a little bit about. If you hit about, you'll be able to learn more about this. Just anything you would need to know, or anything that could really help you when doing the randomizer. Like I said, this goes pretty deep. I think one of the more influential individuals in the Super Metroid community is Oats and Goats. I do watch him sometimes. He'll do randomizer races or anything else. But with that, we're going to go ahead and get into the game. We're going to see what the seed has in store for us. You can actually change some of these settings before you even start the game. But anyways, we started the ship. You can see the ship kind of looks dark, just like Samus does. So that's pretty cool. There's actually other settings where you don't even start at the ship. And as you can see, we're already seeing some different rooms. This room here is actually called Big Pink. Every room has its specified name based on what the community calls it. I can do a little bit of tech here. I know some basic wall jumps and stuff like that. Not that I'm very good at it, as you can see. The first thing we get is power bombs. Of course, we cannot use those yet because you have to have Morph Ball. We'll proceed to the bottom here, where there is another item. I'm going to almost die to a basic enemy because I'm terrible. There we go. Get you an energy tank. And I can't go any further there. So we're going to go back and see what else we can do. And this, I believe, should give us Morph Ball. Yep, there it is. Not really too much else we can do, so now we can go further down. We can use the power bombs. And that'll give us super missiles. So typically the way progression works is you will get an item, and then usually that item will allow you to do something else, just like a Metroidvania would. And it keeps that into account. So if you get power bombs, you should be able to go through rooms that require power bombs. Same thing with super missiles. You should be able to unlock green doors or pink doors. And here's the map. We're going to see what we got here. The large white dots, those are majors. The circles that are hollow are usually, I believe, like E-tanks. Or in this mode, I believe they can also be like super missiles as well. So that just really depends. I was getting a little confused with the map there. Up, and I realized I only had one power bomb. That could be a problem. You can get yourself soft locked if you do not have enough power bombs. I forgot to save there. But everything is faster. Also, you can reload saves if you're in a pickle, just like I showed you there. You usually have to do LR start select. I had to change that because for some reason I couldn't get that to work on the emulator, so I only did I think 2 buttons. Can't believe I clutched that out without dying. And that gives us Speed Booster. And Speed Booster unlocks the next area of progression. Now, I had forgotten how to do a Shine Spark diagonally. And that's what I'm trying to do here. Oops. It gets really, really bad. I'm going to show you a compilation now of all of my failed Shine Spark attempts to go diagonal. I actually had to go and look to see if I had my button mapping wrong. decided to give it a break for a minute and go and see if I can do anything else. Or I think maybe I was just looking for a place to do a charge, so I wouldn't have to do it diagonally. But I don't think it worked out, and then I'm back at it again. And the solution was actually really simple. I was making it harder than it needed to be. You have to hit the angle up button before you hit the button to release your shine spark. In this case, it was just hitting R. So that's a little embarrassing. I should know how to do that by now, but I digress. Also, that's also embarrassing. I died right there, so... Anyway, second time's the charm, and then we get gravity suit for our efforts. That allows us to traverse water areas. Means we can break this casing here, and we can traverse much easier. If you've ever watched, we get Varia's suit also for our efforts, so we're fully suited up. Varia gives us the ability to traverse through heated rooms without taking damage. Some of these rooms I know, like this one is called Worst Room of the Game. But I can't remember what all of them are. There are lots of things you need to take into account when you are going to different rooms. And oh, now there's space jump. That will make traversal a bit easier. Sometimes it may seem like it's not a good idea to take a path because there's a refill along the way. It's okay to take that path because you can refill before going to the next room. So you're going to see me like move terribly and get around very awfully. If you've ever watched anyone play Super Metroid before, you'll know that I am definitely pretty good at this game. I'm actually doing a voiceover of this. I played this a little while back, so kind of get to see what I'm doing here. A lot of it is just getting to the next item, until you have enough to be able to beat the game. The goal here is you have to beat, okay, there's Wave Beam. You have to beat 4 bosses to unlock Mother Brain. You beat Mother Brain and then you escape the planet. That's essentially your objectives. You can change those objectives, but usually there's around 4 objectives that you have to complete before you can essentially beat the game. And we're just looking for power-ups and bosses, essentially. Thankfully, the map is really close, so we're going to go and we're going to take a look. And we'll see what we got. So Mother Brain is right there to our right, so we will be ending the game here. You can tell by the 4 X's there, but just looking around, I see lots of majors that I'll probably need to get, and we're going to go find those. And we're rewarded with Spazer. Spazer's fine, but it is one of the worst beams in the game. It's fine to find early on, but it is not required for any progression. As it goes for E-Tanks, you have to have at least 3. So like 2 E-Tanks, 1 reserve would be enough to beat the game. I am, of course, going to get more because I'm not very good at this game. But the reason is because at the end with Mother Brain, you must have at least 3 tanks if you have 2 suits at least to be able to beat it, because it's kind of a check when you're hit with Mother Brain's Hyper Beam. You have to be able to tank at least 3 tanks for health. If you have no suits, you have to be able to take 6 tanks of damage. Speedrunners think about this, whenever they are in tournament matches, in races, about whether if they know they're not really going to find any suits and they've got to complete it fast, they look for E-Tanks instead. And you always want to save often. Something that's weird about this room is it's heated going up, but it doesn't seem to be heated on the way back for whatever reason. But you still have to go through the lava if you're going backwards. And looking up, I realize I don't have any power bombs, which could be a problem. But I decided to just go anyways, in hopes that maybe I'll find a power bomb somewhere. The next room to my left, I believe, does require a power bomb. So there we go, I did get one. And we get high jump boots for our trouble. Oh, I don't know what I was doing there. I kind of just really messed that up. There we go. That's a little better. There's some items that we can get. I should know how to do a shine spark at this point, so that's good. I think I was trying to get some more power bombs there just to realize that those two ball things there actually dropped them. There we go. Now we don't have a power bomb problem. That's something you always got to be conscientious of before you go into any area. Will you accidentally get soft locked, which can absolutely happen. Now let's see what we get in here for our troubles. Grapple beam. Okay. You can see me trying to escape the way that I went down, which of course I could not do. I'll grab the missile since I'm in here. Alright, only one way to go is it's down. Thankfully, with 2 suits, this is much easier. If you have only Varia, you still take quite a bit of damage. And if you take any damage while suitless, you will take around almost, I believe, 2 tanks of damage from those guys. Those key hunters, they do a lot of damage. At this point, you may have noticed some changes from the rando, from the base game. Everything kind of goes faster, from saving to the elevators. Going from this to the base game is a bit jarring, since everything is much faster. So, I learned some tech here. It's actually really easy to do. Okay. You actually make your hitbox smaller when you do that, and you can jump over them. I didn't know that I could do that. I've seen it done, but I didn't know it was that easy. And, of course, the map is above our head. I did that just because I wanted to see what the item was. So we're going to see if we can try to get this map. I think I remember what is waiting on the other side of this room. And it is absolutely tragic. GT, so I have to fight an entire boss just to get to the map. And this boss is not exactly the easiest, unless you know a specific strat. But, no reason why I can't try to fight him. And, you're about to see what happens. So here I'm trying to do a strat where you keep him in a corner and keep him doing like the same moves. I could not remember what the strat was. So, anyways, that was a disaster, and I decided to do something else for now. Ammo, those will refill everything, not just your missiles. I finally figured out the strat. I had to look it up. You have to have your foot in a certain position on the back pillar. Took a couple of hits there, but I did finally figure it out. You want to turn, you want to gotta get those balls. I thought maybe Spazer was messing me up there. I don't really think it made much of a difference. I think I was just being awful. There we go. You want to farm up for the super missiles and then get back into position. And then hit them with super missiles. This is the easiest way to defeat GT when you don't have a lot of resources, which I'll be honest, with my current setup, a better player would have been just fine. But regardless. Finally, we end up beating him. Now we can actually get the map and get some information about the area. Can't believe I had to beat GT to get to the map, which is actually hilarious, but I digress. And let's see what we got. There's a major over there to the right. A major over here to the left. But there's not really much else in this area. My gosh, look at this. I can't even make it back up there. But anyways, we're going to fast forward that, and we're going to go into the sand pits. And there's bombs. So there's two majors here, which is why I wanted to go back down to the sand pits. Let's see what's over here on the right. X-ray, of course. X-ray, of course, is one of the more useless items in the game, especially for when we do in basic logic. We do not need X-ray. But I decided to fight for my life to get it anyway. I have no idea why. There we go. Plasma. Now that's something I like to see. Plasma is the strongest beam in the game. It can trivialize most boss fights, especially if you have plasma and X-ray for certain bosses, and I will show you why later, or I'll attempt to show you why anyways. Alright, let's see what we get here. Ooh, ice. Ice is always good. Watching speedrunners do this and then watching myself do this is a very, very fun to see. Finally got it on the third one. If you hit him with a plasma and then walk through him, sometimes you will not take damage. So there are some tricks that I know and understand, but I just cannot perform them because I haven't practiced this game enough. And we'll see what's over here on the right. Charge beam. So this is something that I was wanting to find. Technically, with what I had, I really didn't need too many other resources to actually beat the game. But as I said, I'm not really good at Super Metroid, so I just needed more. New area, and the map is just right down there to the right. Alright, and let's see what's over here. Pretty much a branch in the path. We can go to either M or T. So Meridia or Torian. And I'm using that pivot save to get back up there, so I think it just makes it a whole lot faster. And we'll just go left here, and that'll get us to Meridia. Here's my awful attempt at getting up there. Finally, I get up there. And I decided to go down and check to see what this is. Not that I really need any other items at this point, but I do kind of want to at least check everything. I do find it fun, and of course we get Spring Ball for our efforts. It's more just a luxury item. spring ball can be very useful in some logics, such as hard, because you can use it to do a spring ball jump, where you're in the water, you have to go into the pause menu, and you have to turn off spring ball, turn it back on, and you'll do an extra jump while you're in water. It's good if you don't have gravity suit. But for us, it was pretty well pointless. Power bombs are good. You're about to see how powerful this plasma beam is. Or at least full beams anyway. And it's a one-shot to the first boss you essentially see of the game that you can actually beat. Ridley not included. Decide to continue because I'm looking for the map in this area. And we come across Kraid. I'm going to try to do a quick kill here. Let's see what happens. That did not work out. And yes, this is me struggling against Kraid. Kind of shows you how the rest of the run goes. So I just take a plasma and shoot him in the face. Right next to the map room, and it is just the wrong direction. That can happen with the map rooms. They can be very deceptive, thinking you need to go down this way, and you actually need to go a different direction. Well, we get screw attack, but it's still not the way to the map. Finally, we make it to the map, and it is offline. This means Phantoon is in this room here, adjacent to the map room, so he'll be right here. This happens in every map rando. He is always to the right. He's in the right room. Anytime there is a left map room that is offline, Phantoon will always be right there. Trying to show you a quick X-ray kill. This is not the way to do it, but I'm trying it anyway. Messed it up again. Yeah, the best thing to do is to hit him with some regular missiles, and then do it. I still ended up getting hit there. There we go. That's how you do it. Not that it really mattered at this point. But yes, if you do the X-ray multiple times, because plasma has like piercing damage, it will do multiple. It will do a lot of damage. You can also do this with that underwater boss. I can't remember the name at the point. I think it's Dragon, yeah. But there are no more bosses here, so it's time to go and look at a different area. I believe that really just left Torian, so we'll go and check that out. I will show off the X-ray kill, or the microwave kill as it's called, in more depth. Real lucky that the map's right here. When we get to Dragon, I actually perform it more successfully there. Anyways, there's Dragon, and then of course Ridley is down there, which means we know where all the bosses are. We've defeated 2 of them, and then after we beat these 2 bosses, we can beat Mother Brain. So we're right there at the end. There's multiple ways I can choose to kill Dragon here. In the base game, if you have Grapple Beam, you can actually cook him, essentially, by grappling the broken turrets there while he has you. And you take damage too, but here we go. Here is a microwave. I'll have to do it one more time. And that's it. That's how you perform a microwave kill on Dragon. This fight has a lot of ways to kill him. Probably one of the more versatile bosses. Then that leads us to Ridley. Ridley is not an easy boss, no matter how you cut it. He is never free. With what I have now, he should be free. But let's see what happens. And I end up taking a death. But I definitely get him on the second try there, for sure. Don't look at that. I didn't die there. But anyway, third time's the charm. Okay, so that should have been a free fight with what I had, but as I said, I don't really. I guess I'm not very experienced with the game as I used to be, anyways. I do like Super Metroid, however, yeah, I haven't practiced in a while. And anyways, at this point, it was time to go to Mother Brain. That was the final of the 4 bosses. Now, you have to beat the 4 bosses or it won't let you get past this part right here. There's usually some gates there. And I try to do a glitch to get through those Zebs there. You can freeze the bottom Zeb, or whatever that thing, the Rinka, that comes out of there, like the round projectile. You can freeze it, and then you can do something to take some damage and get through there. Just kind of like that is what you're supposed to do. However, I have no idea how to do this correctly, and I continuously mess it up. Yeah, and then I decided to just give in, and I'm just going to go ahead and use the ammo to open up a path, refill my missiles, which is just right there, and then I decided to go through with the fight. Now, as you can see, I have 3 tanks up there plus a reserve. As long as I don't get hit too many times, I should be fine. Catch up there. As long as I don't take another, I should be fine. And I take another. So I had to go back and I had to do that again. Yeah, that catch-up attack does a lot of damage, even with full suits. So you absolutely want to avoid that attack. And we've beaten Mother Brain. And this is the check I'm talking about. She will take 3 tanks of health here. And she'll make sure to get you down to no tanks, and then you get the hyper beam, and then you just have to escape. That's a 2-minute escape, so it's a fairly long escape. Anyways, I enjoy watching these. You know, there's very popular randomizer runners out there. If anybody ever watches these community races, I know I like to watch them. Oats and Goats, Eddie, Spiffy, Nito, Aussie. Lots of Super Metroid runners. They're very good at the game. I recommend you go see them to see what actual greatness looks like, because it's definitely not here. But this is fun. I wouldn't mind practicing this more to try to be able to participate in some of these races. I can do some of the tricks that are harder, such as the spring ball jumps and things like that. I can do single wall climbs. Not that I'm very good at it, but you know, the wall jumps. But I also enjoy watching them, you know, and these are the individuals that have put thousands of hours into Super Metroid. I think speedrunning the game, I've beaten it in about 2 hours. I think with practice, I think I could do better. That's actually not a very good time. I believe the world record holder is still at about 38 minutes, somewhere along those lines. I don't know what I was thinking about doing there. But anyways, you get to the ship, and then the game's over. And we'll take a look at some of the stats on how long in game time it took me to beat it. My pause times and things like that. But yeah, these are very, very fun. Just infinite replayability. Considering there's so many tricks that you can do and a skill ceiling, it's one of those easy to learn, hard to master type of games with such a high skill ceiling. And this game is like 30 years old, and it's still amazing. They only really changed certain things for quality of life. These tricks, a lot of these tricks you could perform even in the base game. So I definitely recommend that you check it out. I will put a link in the description on how to find this. Anyways, 20 saves, 4 deaths, 36 reloads. A lot of those reloads were because I could not use a Shine Spark correctly. And this is the progression here. You see a 1, and then you'll see Power Bomb, 1 Energy Tank, 2 Super Missiles. So you have to find something to get the 2, and then the next progression is 3, then 4, then 5. And then it just continues onward from there. And here's my time spent in certain areas. My pause menu time is 11 minutes 30 seconds. And my final time being 1 hour 55 minutes. Okay. Well, if you liked this, be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Thank you very much.